this youth movement. So kind of run through that in regards to what you're seeing that you like.
Well, I said that we're going to talk about this because I do have to bring up the fact that it was announced on Monday that starting safety Bubba Bolden is out for the rest of the year with a shoulder injury. And I've been very critical of his play recently because it looked like a completely different player. You know, I saw it on the timeline this past weekend that people were comparing him to early career Robert Knowles, who was never in the right place and cost Miami multiple touchdowns every time he stepped on the field, and like a non-Tombo Akil Fentress, who I believe is going to med school or something. And I mean, it's great. You know, I want that for him. But in terms of being a football player, that comparison is not great. You know what I mean? Bubba Bolden was the number one vote getter at safety for all ACC this year coming into the season. One of the highest vote getters on the defensive side of the ball heading into the season. There was an argument last year through the Louisville game and maybe the week after that Bubba Bolden was the singular best defensive player in America last year. And on this very show, I made the point that he made a tackle 3 yards up the field on one sideline against Louisville. They go tempo, and he makes a tackle on the other sideline 7 yards up or 6 yards up the field. Literally everywhere. I mean, 53 1/3 yards wide, going tempo, no huddle. He's literally making plays everywhere you can make them at all three levels. Ooh, sorry about that. And his play is just fallen off, just terribly, in every way, whether it be, run fits, tackling, coverage, none of it was there. And so it was said by Manny Diaz that he sustained the injury against Virginia. Brevin Jordan, who played both in high school at Bishop Gorman and at Miami with Bubba Bolden, said that the injury actually was sustained against Appalachian State in the second game of the year. Whichever one, that's a long time to be playing with a shoulder injury. And it does kind of inform, this is maybe why he's going about trying to tackle in such a way and, not engage all of his physicality in the same way that he used to because he had a bum shoulder and everything. So we obviously wish him, well with his surgery and recovery. I'm of the mind that, it would probably be better for him to come back to school than go to the NFL, especially based upon what the film was this year, even with an injury in the second half of last year as well. But we'll see if that's the move for him, or if he goes in the portal somewhere else, or if he tries to take his talents to the next level. But in any event, we definitely wish him well with the recovery because we don't wish for injury on any person or player. That being said, the youth movement at safety especially is incredible. James Williams has been starting for a few games, 5-star All-American super recruit freshman, and he looks the part. He's everywhere. Sure, he's making some freshman mistakes by going 8 million miles an hour, but I would rather that. You know what I mean? So he's a guy who's making plays all over the field. Cam Kinchins from Miami Northwestern, also having heavy rotational snaps. He had probably the best tackle of the season this year. In total, was that play on fourth down, that's that quick out to Thayer Thomas on NC State's last drive. So they're going to the sideline and said, okay, cool, we're going to go for it. And when you throw short of the sticks in that moment, especially to a slot receiver like Thayer Thomas, the mentality is clear. Make the first guy miss, and then you got nothing but green grass. Except for that first guy was Cam Kinchins, and it was a perfect form tackle. He couldn't go nowhere. Had him around the shoulders, had the other arm through the thighs, couldn't even run. It was like that play at the goal line in that Super Bowl when Kevin Dyson came up short.
Mike Jones.
Yes, when he was trying to run and he grabbed that knee and said, nah, son. That was what Cam Kinchins did on that sideline, got up with the fist up, thinking, oh, not even this, because that's the, sign for fourth down. Now, it ain't fourth down. It's our ball, kid, because that incredible singular play right there. Now, the depth chart came out for this week on Monday before Manny Diaz's presser where he announced that Bubba Bolden is out for the year. James Williams is listed as a starter at one position. Cam Kinchins is second to Bubba Bolden at the other starting safety position. So it most likely will be on the road at Pittsburgh this week that we're starting 2 true freshmen from the 2021 recruiting class at safety. And we should. Those are by far, they are playing incredible football. Again, there's going to be mistakes, but if you want to have starting safeties and you want the guys who play like Miami Hurricanes and have the edge that we want Miami Hurricanes to have, 0 and 24 starting at safety, those are my two. Also, as well, in addition, after a 6-game suspension, you get back 2020's number 2 overall recruit in the country, Avante Williams. He played on specials. And I thought he was not going to play on base defense. He had a role on nickel and dime package defense. So you had times when you had all three of Williams, number 0, Williams, number 15, no relation, and Kinchins, number 24, all treat him on the field at the same time. Look, man, that's your number 2 overall safety in the 2020 class. Your number 1 and 5 overall safeties from the 2021 class. If you want to talk about recruiting, you want to talk about getting talent onto this roster, right? 3 guys from the top 5 of a single position, put them all on the field because they have different skill sets and different physicality and different athletic and playing traits, and they can complement each other. It doesn't have to be James or Tay or Cam. No, put James, Tay, and Cam out there, and did in key spots last week against NC State. That shows to me that the talent's in that room. Keep playing them. Now, you're going to have to bring back Gervin Hall, and he was mentioned by name. I made the tweet at the break of the Secret Day Job that mentioning him by name is an intentional thing by Manny Diaz to say, hey, I'm going to mention Gervin Hall. Also, I mean, supports the kid in the media, but also is letting us know, hey, 26 is going to play some snaps. Somebody commented back and said he was asked directly about Gervin Hall, which is why he used the name of the answer. I was not able to attend the Zoom. I had meetings at my own job. You know what I mean? So I didn't know that the question was Manny about Gervin Hall, and that's why he used that name. But you do have Gervin Hall as well, and he's going to need to bounce back in some measure. It might not be all the way to the best of his potential, but it can't be to the floor of what we've seen from him either. But you're going to have him. You have Isaiah Dunstan, former cornerback. He's moving into safety. I think that's necessary because NC State took him up top a couple times, and it showed me really quickly he doesn't have the foot speed to stay outside as a man number 1, cornerback. Move him inside a little bit where he's already further off the line and he can kind of flow with it. He doesn't have to run step for step from the line with any receiver. I think that the lack of foot speed is going to help. It will be mitigated by the move inside for Dunstan. But you have another young guy from the 2020 class there as well. Now you have other guys who were injured. My guy Brian Balaam from Miramar, Jalen Harrell, Keyshawn Washington, all 3 at safety. Those guys are injured. But the youth movement there is paying off. It's not just at safety. You got Marcus Clark, Isaiah Dunstan, who now is going to safety, but those 2 are playing at cornerback ahead of DJ Ivey. Marcus Clark playing really well. To Corey Couch, rotating in, playing more nickel, which is his best spot. I know that he's the best cover corner on the team. He's 5'8" on a good day, guys. Sorry, he's not going to be able to play outside. Just come on. You have Leonard Taylor still being every game graded the highest rated player by Pro Football Focus on the field. Every game that he comes in. What else do you want from me other than the highest rated, highest graded player by these evaluators? You know what I mean? You have Jalen Knighton, sophomore. Now you're starting running back. You have other, freshmen behind him, Cody Brown and Thad Franklin. You got Rashard Smith getting in on kick returns and also some spot duty on offense. Romello Brinson on offense. Xavier Restrepo. Jacoby George, punt return. Now he needs to ball security because he fumbled the ball twice on one punt return. But he's out there on base offense and on punt return. You have Elijah Arroyo at tight end, who I believe needs to be playing even more snaps than 85. But he's a guy, he gets one play thrown his way. It's 29 yards up the sideline and a big first down. Everywhere you look on this roster, there are youngsters. And I didn't even mention guys like Chance Williams at defensive end. You know what I mean? There's at every level of this roster, young guys who are stepping up into major roles and making the plays. And this is what I've been talking about. This is what my guy JP Juice Kane 300 on State of the U wrote about, that Miami has a seniority problem of just playing the older chronological guys. Look, D. Wiggins finally went with his effort into the transfer portal. there was a formality because it was announced a couple weeks ago. He's not even on the official roster anymore, but fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, but if you're playing him instead of some of these guys that we're seeing, no, get out of here. You know what I mean? Mark Pope, he's not officially in the transfer portal, but same thing. But I mean, he wasn't playing in front of anybody because he got recruited over and then developed over. But and that's not even saying the ACC newcomer of the week, Tyler Van Dyke, who completed 25 of 33 passes for 325 and 4 touchdowns after he came out here and said, we're going to bomb them boys and bomb them boys with no interceptions. So, I mean, at every position group, absent offensive line, which is just an older group of guys and the young guys are developmental. But every single position group other than offensive line has young guys in the first or second year in this program stepping up and making plays. That's a coordinated youth movement. And even though I don't necessarily like it, that youth movement might save Manny Diaz's job for another year.